This time on The Drive, we'll check the progress of the soybean field, and Corey gets his first trail camera up.
All right, well, we've got our first covert camera out. We're going to try to get an idea of what bucks are coming out here.
The guys sling some arrows and get their bows tuned up for the upcoming 2013 archery season. And Tyler gets quite the surprise when he checks his covert camera on the mountain. The Drive is brought to you by Covert Scouting Cameras, Luminoc, Motion Camera Arms, Beach Ridge Outfitters, Quaker Boy Game Calls, and Swarhout Skullworks.
We know there's some nice bucks on the property that we hunt, and they love coming to the fields and food plots. We just need to see what's there, and there's no better way to do that than get a covert scouting camera up.
This camera location is perfect for their field setup, but how a camera location like this was made is even better.
This post here is from an area that we hinge cut, and it's, I believe it's black birch. And there was no tree close enough to where I wanted to get the camera as close to the edge of the field as I could get it. So I went in and cut a piece of this black birch off, come in, dug a hole, brought a bag of sackcrete, and dropped the post in it, poured some sackcrete in, mixed some water with it and some stones, and you can see it's rock solid. So that's a way to put a tree where you need to have a tree for your camera. And it took me probably an hour to do it. We got our first camera out, looking out on a soybean plot, and then there's actually clover mixed in with it and oats behind it. So we're going to try to get an idea of what bucks are coming out here. The other end of the field is fenced with the electric fence, so we're not going to put any cameras out there because it's kind of limited where they can come out because the fence runs right up to the edge of the woods. So we'll get this thing turned on and come back next week, see how many pictures we get. We're back at the property to see how the soybeans are doing, and it looks like they're coming along just fine. All right, well, so a week has gone by since we checked the fence. We're out here this morning. We just checked the fence. We had to make some repairs to it. Last week, the beans were inside the fence for 2 weeks, and they were probably about 3 inches, a good 2 to 3 inches high. They had doubled in size from what they were the week before. And as you can see now, some of these are between 4 to 6 inches high. So the fence is working for the most part. It's letting these beans grow. Hopefully by the time season rolls around, these beans will be as nice as what we're seeing the farmers' beans are now. So we're gonna go swap a couple camera cards and then check those and see what we got.
It's been a week since we put the covert up out on the property, and we're anxious to go see what posed for us in the field.
There was a spider in the locker. There's not a spider in there no more. $1,600 pictures. I'd say we got some work cut out for us to check these out. Yeah, trigger interval was set for every 5 seconds, so it's going to be taking quite a few pictures there. We'll set it to 30. That way it doesn't happen again.
Those batteries have been in that camera since April, and it ran through all of spring gobbler season. The camera was actually up until the first week of July, and it took 1,600 pictures this last week, and I've only lost 1 bar of battery. It still has 2 bar of battery left, so These cameras are awesome. The battery life is great.
Another week goes by, we're back out to take a final look at the beans.
It looks like the beans inside the fence are doing really well. You can tell they're traveling around the outside of the fence. These beans that are outside are all, stick your hand on them, hit them, they're all squared off. So they're still getting what's outside, which is fine, but inside, they've grown a lot in this last week. We've had a couple showers and some warm weather, and they're starting to grow.
Like I said, we have great food plot success, and this year's crop isn't any different. They look good, they're healthy, and the deer are just itching to get in them.
Corey and Tyler check the progress of the beans, check the trail cameras for new pictures, and take a look at the status of a rifle stand that may get used in archery season. It's been a great preseason for them, and they can't wait to get started with bows in hand.
Since all that's been taken care of, now it's time to sling some arrows.
Splitting nocks and cutting off veins is normally a good thing. It means you're dead on, but not when you're limited on arrows.
Uh-oh. I like the sound of that.
I was unable to go with Tyler to check his camera this time, but boy is he in for a surprise.
All right, well, we're back out here. We're checking our camera. It's out here on the hillside on this path. And like I said, it is an awesome deer path. They are in this thing. They run it all the time. We've got pictures of deer on here already. No bucks yet, but we're gonna see if there's anything on here. I'm excited to look. I'm gonna take this card out, swap it, and we're gonna leave it out here for another 4 days. And I'm gonna take the whole camera and I'm gonna move it to another location. A location that I think might be better than this one even. So only one way to find out, so let's see what we got. Got ourselves a buck here, ladies and gentlemen. He's not very big, he's about a 4. We're at 866 pictures in 4 days. Now, I did set it to a double shot, so you're really looking at about 433. But I didn't want to miss anything. You know, if something runs through here, I want to be able to catch that. So I have it doing a double shot. And you know what? From the looks of this, I'm glad I did, because my heart just skipped a beat. Because wait until you see these bucks. We've got even more in here. They were just in here today. Just today at noon. Right on the dot at noon. They were coming from this way, coming back in deep. So that's good. That's real good, because that's the best way that my stand's set up for. So if they're staying out that way and coming in here, you know, in the afternoon, I can live with that. That's great. And if it wasn't for this covert camera, I'd have never got them. I'd have never seen them. The pictures quality is unbelievable. Double shots at 15-second intervals, so I got a lot of pictures. I'm gonna actually change it to tone it down a little bit. It was kind of almost too many. But when you got racks like that, you can't have too many pictures of deer like that. So I'm freaking stoked. There's no other word to describe it. I feel like I'm in the X Games, but I am stoked. This is going to be a good spot. I could not be happier I almost don't want to move the camera, but we got to see what's going to be in the other part here deeper. There's a nice saddle in there on this piece of property that we're able to hunt, and I'm excited. I'm excited. Wow.
Bucks weren't the only surprise I had that week. I almost stepped on this fella. I actually filmed this from about 10 feet away. So just a reminder to be extra careful when you're outdoors, especially alone. And I also ran into some bigger problems too.
I just ran into 2 bears. I think there's only 2.
We moved the cameras about a week later, but didn't catch any signs of buck activity like we thought we would in those other locations. So looks like the stands are going on the trail where there was a lot of activity.
Deer won't be the only thing we hunt with the bow on the drive this year. We got lots of pictures of game on our covert cameras, including a couple bear, so it should be a pretty fun year.
Next time on The Drive. The preseason preparations are over as Corey and Tyler head back out to the mountain and back out to the camp to put the tree stands up in spots that will determine their success and decide their fates this archery season.
It's just a matter of keeping our scent down and trying not to get detected by the noses, but I think hopefully have the eyes covered.
After the stands are hung and the closing gear are scent free, it's time for the guys to get 20 foot up and get the hunts underway on The Drive as archery season finally comes to the Keystone State of Pennsylvania.
We've seen about 30 deer tonight. I lost count right now. We got an awesome 8-point out here in the beans.
The Drive, a Rack Devil Media production.